Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I am your host, GameChanger. So, I'm doing the TikTok of the day, and I actually found a very interesting channel that I'm going to cover more than once because this woman, she is all over the place. She's confused. And there's reasoning behind this, which is something I'm going to get into on a later video, but it's common. She just so happened to be a lot smarter than the average chick. So she's able to see through certain things of the sisterhood, and she's transparent. So she's just putting it out there. I guess in a vain attempt to grow her channel or a successful attempt to grow her channel. But nevertheless, it's effective in my case. And it's always good to get honesty from women who otherwise would be deceptive. Whether that honesty comes from a place of, I want to share my intellect with the rest of the world, or it's because they are too dense to know that they're supposed to be lying about something. This is the former. So, just going to get right into it. Go ahead and feel free to hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and comment in the comment section below. All right, let's see.
Men do not give preferential treatment to the women that they like. I hate it when y'all are like, oh, he won't do this for you because he doesn't like you. The reason why he's not paying all your bills is because he doesn't like you. That is a lie. That is 100% false. Men are going to do what you allow them to do. If you are a woman that decides to be with a man and go 50-50 with a man, he is going to deal with you. Men are monkey branchers. They are going to monkey branch from one woman to the next. Men don't actually like women, okay? Y'all need to wake up from this. There is no such thing as he doesn't like you. They don't fucking like anybody, okay? They're going to pick the person that makes sense in front of them at that time. If the man does not have finances and he meets a woman that is going...
Okay. I'm going to venture to say that that's true, what she said about men not really liking women. Most women don't really have a personality that's compatible with most men, meaning that if a particular woman just so happened to have been born a man, then with the same personality traits, or a man meets a man with the same personality traits as a woman, they more than likely would not be friends. So they do not really enjoy a woman's company the same way that they enjoy a man's company. However, they do enjoy a woman's company the way a man enjoys a woman's company, and that's what he likes about her. But as far as personality compatibility, there's less of it there, and that's the plain truth of it. There are very few women that just connect with men on a non-romantic level like that. And she tends to be on some tomboy stuff. Hit the like button. She has a point there. It's not the point that it's not her overall point. We do like them. We just don't like them the way that, we like everybody for different reasons, men, women, and children. We appreciate the value and functionality of other men. We appreciate feminine value from women, which, in modern times, it's far, far less of them. That's probably why there's a disconnect, because you can't connect on them on a masculine, feminine level. So, there's that. And when I say the functionality of men, I'm talking about, 10 guys can get together and build a house type deal, or jump somebody, or fend yourself, or defend, a group of people, things like that. And children are our future, so we love them for that reason. Let's continue.
going to be okay with going 50-50. He is going to deal with that woman because that is the woman that he can afford at that time. Men do not pick women based off of likeness. Men pick women based off of strategy. They pick women based off of convenience. When they go 50-50 with a woman, they are going to be saving 50% of their money. If the woman is also cooking and cleaning, he is also going to be having 50% of his time given back to him, meaning that he has double the money and double the time to go spend on another woman, which is what they do. They're going to flaunt that money from the 50-50 girl, use that money to get the girl that's going to wait at the finish line, dump the 50-50 girl, and then get with the woman so that way he has enough money to pay for everything. Women keep falling into this.
Okay. Though there exists men that are like that, it's not in high abundance when the woman is of quality. And it also, and it doesn't really exist at all when the woman is prettier than the man is handsome. Once those two things are there, all bets are off. All bets are off. So you hear this story about, the woman that held you down, in college when you were a med student and you were broke and then you became a doctor and you left her for the white girl, that almost never happens once again when it is a woman of quality, a supportive woman, a submissive woman, and a feminine woman. And also she is prettier than he is handsome. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. After that, then that's where you find these Cosby style relationships. The doctor married a lawyer and the lawyer just, looks good after 6 kids or 5 kids. Shout out to Felicia Rashad. It don't happen to the Felicia Rashads of the world. Now, if you are a woman that just so happens to look like trash and behave like trash, and a man is tolerating you because that's all he can get while he is broke, then yes, his poverty is your bond. And once that poverty ends, then so does the bond between the two of you. He's going to go and find himself a more attractive, more amenable woman because that was his goal. So yeah, she's partly right. The reason why she has this perception, just so y'all know, because I looked at a few of her videos, the reason that she has this perception is because she is a former stripper. Hit the like button, comment in the comment section. She's a former stripper. So her perception of men is that of men who are married, and many of whom are married, and they are looking for something more attractive, at least in the short term. So she has this filtered perception of men. Sad, unfortunate, but true. I'm gonna dig into this some more.
Trap of thinking that men's treatment towards you is based off of their likeness for you. That does not mean shit. Men are out here to conquer.
It does. It means everything. Just because in certain senses we don't necessarily and when I say I should just say enjoy the company of women the same way that we do certain people or other types of people. But just because that is true, that doesn't mean that we don't prefer the company of some women over others. That completely is not true. Yes, and the women whose company we prefer more is the women that we like, and we do treat those women, vastly differently. I know that there exists places, particularly in the Black community, and I don't think that that's what she's talking about here, but I do know that there's subcultures in the Black community where beauty and things like that don't matter, and all women are equally valuable because they all have a vagina, and that's all you need. That's not the case with me and many other men with a reasonable amount of standards. No, we understand that that this woman is more valuable than this woman, and you treat them accordingly. And it's not just based on beauty, though that's a very large part of it, especially with a shallow person like myself. Hit the like button. That's why pretty privilege exists. The ones we like more gets treated better throughout society. And judging by her looks, she knows this on some level.
They're going to conquer the easy thing and allow that to give them the leg up to be able to conquer the hardest thing. And they're going to keep going higher and higher and higher and higher. Men can only do what you allow. If all women today were to decide to say,
okay, once again, stripper talk. When you are a stripper, that is what men do. What I noticed the very few times that I've been to a strip club, and it's just not really a California thing as it is. I hear about Detroit and Miami and Atlanta being big stripper places. California just so happened to not be a big stripper place. So in a handful of times, and literally one handful of times, um, meaning less than five or five or less, what I notice is that there's a group of girls, only one of whom makes a living wage at the strip club. The rest of the girls are just walking around in their underwear, trying to get $2 drinks, from time to time, um, wobbling, shaking for tips. That's generally what's going on amongst strippers here, meaning that from her purview, and though she's easy on the eyes, I'm pretty sure at whatever club she worked at, there was a top woman, and the way that she was treated was the top woman was always busy. She either had one client that just kept stuffing her panties with money all night, or she had a series of them, meaning that okay, after she's done with this one client, then another one just pops up right there. What does this mean for her? This means that the guys who are with her are really waiting for time with that top chick. That's where she's getting this monkey branch notion from. It's like, okay, true story, right? Because I was that guy. I was at a strip club. I think it was my friend's birthday, and the women were just barely above average. But of course, being naked does work to their favor, like the median woman. However, there was this extraordinarily beautiful, dark skinned, um, exotic dancer, perfect body. I mean, just everything, right? Perfect body, beautiful lips. I don't even remember. I'm just remembering her, meaning like I'm remembering how I thought about her at the time. But if I seen her today, I wouldn't notice her. Well, and she'd be old. But I do remember that the way they did it was every now and again, the girls would, like, a bell will ring or a siren will sound or something would trigger for the girls to get on stage and, line up, do their rounds and stuff. And, so all the guys could see them. And then they would go to the lounge area, outside of the stage, and, mingle and, talk to the guys and see who's interested. Now, I did wait for her to come around to me, the top chick that I was talking about. And there was always like this Oriental guy that waited by the steps of the stage. And he might be a big money guy. In fact, I can't see him not being a big money guy. But and I was very young at the time, so I didn't have any money. But he had Oriental money, and he was looking to spend it on her. So every time, the moment she got off the thing, he was right there, and then he took her back to the VIP. So there's always going to be that top chick, and then there's going to be the guys that's waiting for that top chick, because it's really the same $20. I think it was $20 at that time. So it's really the same $20. If you're going to spend $20, why not spend it on the premier woman? So that's her perception. She's dealing with men who would rather be with the premier chick because it's the same $20. That is her job. That's been her job for 4 years. Her perception evolved from that, but it's not an accurate sample. It's a tainted sample population that she's working off of. Hit the like button. Let's continue.
You know what? We're no longer going 50-50. We're only going to deal with men. We're only going to sleep with men. We're only going to date men unless they're paying 100% of the bills. You think men would just stop dating? You think men would just be like, well, then fuck it, I'm not going to date? No. They would be out here trying to get their money because they understand that they don't have access to women unless they have enough money to be able to pay all the bills. Men are always going to take what you give them, especially if it is at a discounted price. There is no preferential treatment when it comes to men. You are the deciding factor. You get to decide if you're going to go 50-50 or if you're going to wait at the finish line. Men deal with women based off of perceived.
And that's what that's where she's at with that. She wants women to wait at the finish line, and the reason why is because she can't compete with what I described earlier. No woman can, because that is the ideal for men. A woman who supported you when you were on the come up. She was prettier than you are handsome, and continues to be so. And yeah, like there is no greater monogamous situation that a man can ask for. There isn't. So she understands that that's her greatest competition. So what she wants to do is she wants to get all women on the same page. And also, this will put men to try to make decisions based on their thirst, which is what Courtney Michelle was talking about when she said, and what's her name? Lucky Marie, when they were saying, hey, leverage the box, basically, for one, she, like many Black women, have trouble seducing men that are not thirsty. The only men that they can seduce just so happens to be completely and totally and utterly desperate. That's the society that they are trying to create. That's what the Black community is comprised of, unfortunately. So they can later make their moves and negotiate from a position of power. I mean, it's the same thing with the tariffs. It just was executed poorly. That's all it is. It's an attempt to negotiate from a position of power. Now, what you as fellas need to understand is that, okay, if we are going to have transactional relationships, because that's what she's talking about, these relationships are not, based on love or, anything like that. This is, in a very real way, a sugar baby, sugar daddy dynamic. If you as a man are going to do that, then do it with the greatest, first of all, do it with the greatest leverage relationship negotiation that you can do. Don't do it from a place of thirst. Don't do it from a place of scarcity. Do it from a place of abundance where, your counterpart has scarcity. And also get the best bang for your buck. Get the most beauty for your buck. Get the most youth for your buck. Get the most fertility for your buck. Get the most for your buck. And unfortunately for her, she's not it. And not to say that she's not easy on the eyes, but I've seen the world. It's shining, shimmering splendor. And you can get more for less. And I'm not talking about like pay per play. I'm talking about just genuinely, um, I don't know if it's genuine, doesn't really matter. But take someone like Zoom the Thailand situation, for example. Younger, uncorrupted by the American ideologies that are going on out there. Cooks for him daily, supports his dreams, and supports him in other ways that I'm pretty sure he don't share on camera. There are much better deals out there. Now, you're all saying that, oh, but, not everybody can do that. She said, meet him at the finish line, meaning if you are at the finish line, like Suna Thailand, then you are capable of doing that because you are at the finish line. It's unfortunate that these women are only interested in men that are capable of leaving and traveling the world and getting it elsewhere. Part of being stupid. All right, let's watch the last of this and then we're going to read some comments.
Status. When they see that they're doing better after they don't use a 50-50 girl, they're going to go for the Instagram baddie because now they have the money, now they have the status, now they have the accolades. That is how men do the monkey branching to be able to deal with women, and how they're able to make one woman go 50-50 and then make the other one pay for, and then make the other one where they're paying for everything. This only works if you.
Okay, once again, oh man, I meant to, I didn't mean to click that just now. All right, let me go back.
Men do not give preferential treatment to the women that they like. I hate it when y'all are like, oh.
Okay, let's read some comments. My tactic is to never go 50-50 from the start. I go all in to appear like the provider, which leads to earlier than 3 dates actions. Huh? Which leads to earlier than 3 dates bed action. After that, I start, let's do 50-50, which guarantees she'll break up with me. Which is what I want. Oh, okay, so this is a dude saying that, oh, nah, yeah. And now I'm free for the next one. Okay. All right. I'm not going to like read the responses to that because I could predict what they're going to be. All right. There's no formula. Okay. Man will never say no to a discount. Um, okay. If you cheap, they won't encourage you to pull up your price just because they like or value you. They don't like or value any woman enough to uplift her. Okay. That's a very false thing. For one, we like our daughters enough to uplift them. But further, the reason why Western culture is structured the way it is because men uplift women to a fault. I mean, every right that you have and have received, in the last 100+ years has been because men has given it to you because we want to uplift you. So yeah, it's simple. He does nothing for you. He gets nothing from you. 50-50 is two people doing for each other. It's very odd that they don't see it that way. It borders slow. And this is a guy saying that. It borders slow because what happens is you wind up paying 100 anyway. Like there are women out there, and I'm not talking about a few. I'm talking about an entire culture of women who are paying 100% to wait for somebody to else to pay it, as opposed to just paying 50%. Now, what is 50%? Let's just say your rent for whatever is $1,000, right? Of course, there are more expensive places in the world. I just happen to live in one of them, but I'm just for the sake of even numbers, we're going to say $1,000. And a woman waits for this 100% guy to buy her buy her everything. He pays the $1,000, and she saves $1,000 each month. Now, in the waiting, let's just say she waits the entirety of her 20s to find this guy, because the top 10% is just 10% of them. So let's just say she's waiting for this guy for quite some time, her 20s. So she's paying an extra $500 a month, which is $6,000 a year. And after 10 years, which is the duration of her 20s, she spent $60,000. She would have saved that had she not gone, or has she gone 50-50. But you see, they don't want to go 50-50 because of sex. 50-50 is a mutually beneficial thing. It's what roommates do. However, because they're having sex with this person, and it's widely understood that men enjoy it more, or at least they pursue it harder, they feel that they want something for that aspect of it. And that's where the negotiation comes in, and y'all get the point. This is why I'm not going 50-50. You're not going anything. Find somebody else to do it. I don't know what it is in this case, but okay. If they can manipulate you to pay for everything, how's 50-50 paying for everything? These broads are slow. All right. If they can manipulate you to pay for everything, they will run you into the ground, then leave. Okay. Realest one on this app, hands down. Okay. I told my partner I don't pay for anything on the first date. We live together now, and I still pay for nothing. Okay. I mean, congratulations. Yes, I have been saying this. I will tell my daughter this. Men don't like us, they don't love us. That's a weird thing to say to your daughter. I wonder what her relationship with the father is. It's trash. And I can't say that they don't like you, because I don't like you. Um, they like what they have. They love what they get from us. That's true. We do love what we get from you more than we love you, for the most part. Men don't love how women love. Oh, that most certainly. And okay, a lot of this is projection. When they say stuff like they love what we have, they love what they can get from us, that's them projecting. These are gold diggers. They, or at least aspiring gold diggers. They love what men have, and they love what they can get from men. They don't actually love men. Men don't love how women love. That's exactly how women love. Why I don't try and love them. I get what I get from them and move on. Yeah. So you just described yourself and projected it on the men. This is so true. I'm not pretty and have never been skinny, and I've been treated better by men throughout my life than most extremely attractive friends. I'm demanding. It's not because you're demanding, it's because the more attractive women, because women like yourself, fat, ugly broads, like yourself, has convinced the more attractive women to only market themselves at an extraordinary markup. That's what happened with that. So with the attractive women, priced out of the market or waiting for guys at the finish line, every guy who is on his way to the finish line is going to deal with you. But just like the woman in the video say, you are the woman that men monkey branch from. You are the woman that they are with until they can get a more attractive man. But they are with you, and that's what you're saying because you're demanding. Yeah. I hate to admit it, but I think she's right. Okay. Yep. Opportunists. If you're cool with it, they will not reject offers, especially if it will benefit them. Yes. Yes, we want an arrangement that benefits us. What you're speculating is that, first of all, what they're advocating for is that no women go 50-50 or have any type of relationship from that because it's competition. This is what's called a sexual embargo. And in other words, this is like collective bargaining with their vaginas. And that's what Black women have been doing for quite some time. That's why they get so offended when Black men date outside or date other groups of women. It's because they lose the ability to collectively bargain. For example, when the American workforce, the American unions were squeezing corporations, it's like, hey, you got to hire us all. If you fire one of us, you fire us all. We all are going to come together and negotiate this particular salary. What wound up happening was, they took their money overseas. That's why the manufacturing base is in China and all over the world. And we have what we have going on with that. We lost our manufacturing base because they decided to collectively bargain, and it looks like, they went too far. That's what these women are advocating for, sexual collective bargaining, because they do understand that that men will go for a better deal, as they should. So they don't want you to have a better deal. Now, Black women have been doing this for quite some time. That's why they get so offended when Black men date white women. Because, or date really any culture that don't really look at relationship as transactional like that. They look at it more as we're both benefiting. And if you benefit a little bit more, I'm not going to, make ridiculous demands for that slightly greater benefit. Far better negotiation. They offer far better deals. So they need your solidarity because they know, and not all white women are on board. In fact, far fewer white women are on board with this collective vaginal bargaining. But a large percentage of the Black female population is on board with this collective vaginal bargaining, and that's why they are able to get away with it. To men that are loyal to Black women are unable to attract other groups of women. All right. Dolomite, what's good? What's good, Dolomite? Let's see. Sounds like she can't handle the environment change. Elaborate on that. Instead of for making up, make believe, she can say she don't want help. She don't want to do 50-50. All that trying to justify her choices is very weak and uncalled for. Good point. How does this attitude continue when 70% of men under 30 aren't pursuing relationships like that? Yeah, it's going to fall apart. What she's smarter than most, but she's not smarter than most men. And what's going to happen with this is, and what she's missing because she's coming from a skewed perception of, guys at a strip club. The key piece is what she's missing. And this is what I found to be true. Um, is that sex is something that the more you have, the more you want. It's not like food. Food you consume and you get full. Sex is something that you consume and you want more of it. The more you have, the more you want. It's like a drug or money. Now, the opposite of that is that the less you have, the less you want. And that's where the disconnect in understanding men is. Once you get a person, it's okay. Back in the day, I used to catch a bus, right? And actually, I caught it recently when I was in Miami. But back in the day, I used to catch the bus like regular as part of my routine to go to work. And there was this white guy on there, and we would talk to pass the time. And he would tell me his story. He was working at telemarketing, and he basically turned his life around because he's a convict. He's a convict. He's an ex-con. Um, he's an ex-drug addict, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what he told me about, how he got off drugs was very simple. And he said, inside, I can't afford it. He was like, if you're on drugs and, you're locked up, you can't afford, you can't afford whatever you were addicted to. I forget what was his drug, but I knew he couldn't afford it on the inside. So he stopped using it, and he stopped using it for so long that when he got out, it was easier to quit. It was easier to, kick the habit. These guys, these undersexed guys under 30 are just used to not having it. And I've seen this. I've seen guys in their 20s who are just, when I was that age, I was out, getting laid. And that's because there was reasonable opportunity to do so. I mean, I knew that it was worth going out because it was a reasonable opportunity to get results. Now, not so much for, I guess, 80% of guys. So they found comfort. They're just playing their video games and, enjoying their life. You're watching their porn and stuff. And you're going to try to get a guy who's used to not having it. You're going to try to actually charge a premium for that. So that's a hole in her plan. And then also, there's a clear understanding. Like at that point, say he's not playing video games and he's actually working towards something. By the time he gets there, by the time he gets his, millions or billions or whatever, he's going to likely bear a certain level of resentment. And then there's this whole, I see right through you because I've been jacking off for the last 10 years. And then, now that I got something, here you come. Really? Can you be more obvious? He's going to see right through you at that point. So to me, it's a failed model. I mean, really what they're doing is they're red pilling young guys. Men allow these types to rot on a vine. Well, she allows herself to do it. Absolutely. She has a lot of makeup on, but she's no spring chicken. If men not pursuing were to continue, um, like I say, we're built to adapt to what the world gives us. I mean, people like Fantastic and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure, like, being stuck on a submarine for a year, um, you're going, at first it's like, oh man, it's withdrawals. But then after a while, you're just like, oh, okay, that's this is just, I'm adapted. I can still focus. I can still do my work. I can still, fight a war if it came down to that. That's what we've been doing since the beginning. It's not, I mean, their life circumstances have required that we go without that particular thing for a while. And when it requires that we do that, we do that. Like, and it's not like, after the withdrawal period, it's like, oh man, I need this. It's like, okay, it's an extraordinary want, but they are dealing with a completely different mindset of men at that point. All right, so next video. Let's see how much time I got. Oh, I got it. I'll make this one quick. All right.
Dumb women love and will do anything for it. We need to bring back shaming, and the reason why we need to bring back shaming is because women keep taking pride in being dumb for things that don't benefit them, that don't serve them, that do not better them in any type of way. Because what bill can you pay with love? Can you put love on your resume? Is love going to help you get a job? Is love going to save you from an eviction? Is love going to give you a job opportunity? Is love going to allow you to social climb? No, it is not. Because love is
Okay. So what she did was she listed things that matters to her. And love isn't one of those things. Now, love is beneficial to you if it matters to you. But a person who values love can actually say the reverse. What does social climate get you? Does it get you the love of your life? What do money get you? Does it get you the love of your life? What do these material things get you? Does it get you the love of your life? What does paying your own bills get you? Does it get you the love of your life? So basically, she's looking at love as not a means or an end. It's not a means to my end. Not realizing that her end is a means, typically, and for men, intelligently, a means to another end. When men work, social climate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it is to sustain and secure families. She is ill capable of seeing the world that way, which means that even if you were to pop a baby in her and have a family with her, she would be a poor mother because she don't understand the value of love, which means that she could never adequately love and nurture and support these children. And because we live in a society where, a woman can have your money without actually being in the relationship with you, she's destined for divorce. There really isn't no gain in being with her except as a surrogate. And I'm not really sure her genes are something that I would want to perpetuate, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, there's that.
a scam. And smart women understand that love is a scam. And they would never fall for the okey doke. And they would never sacrifice themselves for some inanimate object that has no proof of currency, no proof of elevating anyone's life, no proof of.
Wow. Okay. So this is a very odd thing. I actually say that she's smarter than most, but dumber than most men. And now I think I may have given her too much credit in that part. Okay, so a lot of people, especially ones like her, they have trouble with abstraction. They have trouble understanding what an abstract thing is, and that's what love is. It's something that's not tangible. It is not an inanimate object. An inanimate object is an object that doesn't move, but it's still an object. It's something that you could touch, it's something that you can feel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Love is not that. So she's dizzy, and let's continue.
making you live longer, or really enhancing your life in any way as a woman. Only dumb, weak minded women care about love because they don't love themselves. Smart women, their favorite person is themselves. And what happens is that women that rely on love, it's because they hate themselves, they have a scarcity mindset, and they are hoping that the lack of
This has been going on for far too long amongst Black women, and that is discouraging love. And that's because, and this is going to be a very hard thing to hear. There's no need to time bum out. She hasn't said anything offensive from what I've read. So there's discouraging love has been something that's going on for far too long in the Black community. And the reason why it's been going on for far too long in the Black community is because most Black women are whores or whore adjacent. But each of them are within 3 degrees of separation from a whore. What does that mean? It means that they know someone who is a whore. And because they have such intimate access to them, or they are them, then what tends to happen is a lot of their belief system and ideologies rub off on them. Take this woman, for example, who is one or was one. She is now, attempting to encourage others. This has been going on for quite some time in the Black community. Love is actually the biggest competition. It's the biggest competition of whores that exists. Most of the men that don't partake in that particular transactional lifestyle is because they are in love with the person. They're in love with their wives and they just don't want to participate. Or, they have someone who's in love with them and they don't have the sexual thirst that these broads need to actually make a living. They look at love as a competition. They look at love as something that affects their bottom line. And that's why you have bras like this talking like that. All right.
love that they have within themselves is going to be sourced from a man. And then what's going to happen is that he's going to play that role for a little bit and he's going to play it very well. And then before you know it, she's not going to have any sense of herself anymore. He's going to be driving her car. She's going to be so co-signing for a car for him, for a place for him. And then she's going to be pregnant. And the next thing you know, she's going to be used and discarded by this very same man. All
Now, this is scare tactics, which is effective amongst women because they are less physically protected than men, so they scare easily. I actually wish men would scare more, then they wouldn't find themselves in divorce court so often. But this is a scare tactic. If you love a person, he's going to do this, this, and this to you. If you love these women and girls, you wouldn't be telling them this. These women who find themselves in awful, loveless lives, like the one that you lead.
out of love, right? right? All out of because she held a dream in her head that didn't exist. All because she believed that she was going to have a fairy tale ending from a man.
Do you have a fairy tale ending by yourself?
No smart woman actually believes in love. No smart women actually believe that men are capable of love and actually believe that it is something that they can benefit and gain from love. All men do is weaponize love. As soon as you start speaking facts, the first thing that a man is going to do, but what about love? Where are you going to get love from? Where's the love going to come from? And
Never heard a man say that ever. I've never heard a man say that ever. Man, no matter what, you're going to need a woman who's capable of love in order to be a proper mother to your children. We're going to talk about the relationship she has with her mother. But you're going to need a man who is capable of love in order to have a proper relationship with your children. In order for her to have a proper relationship with your children. Outside of that, it's going to be complete and total chaos.
it's like, have you ever heard of having friends? Have you ever heard of having nieces and nephews? Have you ever heard of having an animal? Have you ever heard of having a hobby that you enjoy doing? Those
It's interesting that she could love animals. That's very interesting. Love is bad unless it's on an animal. You see, once again, this is that horror mentality because they're horror adjacent, or horror themselves. It's like, okay, I want you to be capable of love as it pertains to animals and stuff like that, but don't fall in love with a man because then you lose your ability to sexually leverage him. And you stifle my ability to also sexually leverage him as part of a collective deal. That's what this is really about. Horror mentality, as stated.
are all sources of love. The woman that is still relying on a man to give her love doesn't like herself, has low self-esteem, is not confident, and does not engage in any hobbies that give her any source of pleasure, like any feeling of like happiness, any feeling of purpose. All women that understand that men are not the source of love tend to be very fulfilled within their friendship, their career, their finance.
Seem to be. Basically, maintain a facade of happiness. See, whenever someone tells you that you're going to be happy without something, you don't need this thing that your very nature is telling you that you do need. Like, oh yes, you'll be happy. You'll be happy without dot dot dot. It means that dot 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 is actually what makes you happy. It's like because the whole friends and et cetera that she's talking about, you can actually have that and love.
Finances, they tend to have passions and they tend to have
Hold on. I'm going to respond to this. I don't have a man or kids, and I'm happy all the time when I'm not at work. Okay, understand this. I've never known a happy person to use the words "I'm happy." I'm going to repeat this. I've never known a happy person to use the words "I'm happy." When you say that, you remind me of those 12-year-olds who talk about how much box they get. Those 12-year-olds who claim to have been in orgies with girls you never met? That's what you sound like.
purpose centered around their own life outside of a man. What I will say though is that we need dumb women like this. We do. We need dumb women like this because they're going to keep the smart women safe. Because men are very harmful and men are very dangerous. And you know, if all women just woke up today and said, "You want to know what? We don't believe in this love bullshit anymore."
And that's the thing. You see how she's thinking? Just like on the last video. If all women, black women go old, their eggs dry up, their face wrinkle up, and their vaginas dry up, waiting for a man. Because in order to execute their master plan, they need all women on board. That's why they complain so hard. Like, why is he messing with this woman? It's like, what are you talking about? You spent your 20s and 30s and your 40s trying to get all women on board so you can just put your old vajayjay on the auction block at a discount. What she's waiting for her moment to pounce. And that moment to pounce is when all women stop loving. Sweetie, you're going to be waiting for a long time. You're going to be waiting for a long time. You've already waited for a long time. Your chronically fading looks is going to continue to do so. And then when this glorious day comes where all relationships are transactional, they're still going to go for the younger, hotter, sexier. That's going to get those, the top 10% of, or the top 20% of young, hot, sexy is going to get with the top 20% of the men who are capable of providing. And then what does that leave you with? It leaves you with the same broke ninja that you're avoiding now, or no one.
We're just going to stop, the men will go crazy. So like, I actually do appreciate the contribution that Pygmisha gives to society because she's keeping the smart women safe. She is doing her due diligence to, protect women, women that don't want to go down that path that she's going down. So honestly, I give Pygmisha a lot of, respect. I give her a lot of props because she's,
Yes. And you will be playing with her kids' hair because you have none of your own. And while she's celebrating Mother's Day and bringing her gifts to bingo, you're going to look at pictures of yourself talking about, I once was pretty. People are going to go to your house and they're going to see a little girl's picture up there and be like, "Oh, is that your granddaughter?" No, that's me when I was a girl. Going to other people's family reunion. That will be your life. All right. Read some of these comments, then I'll read some of yours, then I'm out. I am out. Stay tuned. If not today, tomorrow, I'm going to cover this K. Michelle thing. And I mean, I'm going to cover it. All right. Love is forever after you die. Family forever. Money, cars, homes, jobs, all leave when you die. Huh. Yeah. Very well stated. Let's see the hate that this pick me gets. She's light skinned. Well, I ain't dead yet. Let's be for real. Did she say that you were? She's saying that, this has longer term value. Okay. Kings and queens. Okay. Notice the lowercase k and a capital Q in kings and queens. used to marry their offsprings off to other kingdoms for more power. Um, okay, I don't understand your point, especially since you're not a king or a queen. All right, let's see. Don't fall for it. Love is a scam. Love yourself. See, here's the thing. If it was, then why do you have to convince others not to do it? See, I never actually did, let's just say coke or crack or something like that. I never actually did these things. But I know it's good because people have to convince me that not to do it. They wouldn't have there isn't a campaign that says don't eat turnips, don't eat liver. There isn't a campaign to convince people not to do something that's good. So stop that right there. When I was younger, I only dated men with money. I got shamed for it. I tried dating for love. I'm 32 and I am going right back to being smart again. LAMO. Love is indeed a scam. And it was no, love is difficult to obtain and sustain. The problem with you, Houston doll, is that you dated for money and dating for love, your perception is completely skewed. It's a very difficult thing to do that because um, you're stupid and you probably like average intelligence for people of your type, but still very stupid in the sense that because you dated for money for so long, I'm pretty sure that you went to dudes who didn't have any money because you felt that that was the only way it could be for love. You could have learned to love the guys that you were dating for money. But instead, it has to be a zero sum game to you because you only understand two things. You only understand black and white. Meaning that, the only way to date for money or the only way you can't love a man with money. You can only love a broke man. Just like you can't get money from a broke man, you can't get love from a wealthy man. That's your limited perception. And that, amongst other things, is why you failed. Love is a scam. It's not real unless it's for your children. Okay. And you wonder why we have so many single moms in the community. Romantic love is so dang overrated. Oh, is it? Okay. It's just lies. We tell ourselves, learn to love yourself, and that's the only love that matters. Yeah, ask the person who coined that phrase. How's that going for? And wasn't she in love? Just saying. The older I get, ever notice that these chicks are old? I ever notice that these chicks are past 30 trying to convince younger women? They're feeling the competition of younger women. They feel the competition of younger women. Just crap. All right. I got to go. I got a meeting at 9. But yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that participated. And this is GameChanger 00100. Stay tuned for my K Michelle video. I will be going in on that. Game over. Peace.